It's Chris. Welcome to this module, which is called How Intermittent Fasting Saved My Business. It really did, and I'm going to tell you all about it today and in a few other videos, but we're going to get right into this one today. Oh, before I do, I'm not a doctor or a nutritionist or anything. I'm not anything. So don't listen to me at all. I'm going to share a bunch of stuff that worked for me. It might not work for you. In fact, it probably won't work for you. So I'm going to disclaimer all of this by saying don't listen to me. But maybe, let's just get right into this. So first thing I want to do is I just want to help you understand what intermittent fasting is. Some people call it IF. I might call it IF. I might also just call it fasting, or I might call it intermittent fasting. All of those are interchangeable. So intermittent fasting is a way of eating where you cycle through periods of not eating and periods of eating. These are called your eating windows and your fasting windows. A window is a section of time, a continuous section of time. And you alternate between periods of fasting and eating. When you're fasting, you are only consuming water. I've got my bottle of water here, sits with me all day, or I tend to drink black coffee when I'm fasting as well, this thing is full of that. So water or black coffee or tea. I think you can drink tea, but I'm really not positive about that because I just drink black coffee. So no additives, no sugars, no sweeteners, not even artificial sweeteners that have no caloric impact, like nothing. When you do this, you got to get kind of serious about it. So I was just talking to somebody in one of my mentoring programs the other day who can't drink coffee without anything in it. So they just quit coffee and they just drink water. So I'll talk to you more about those things later on. But fasting, by definition, is periods of eating and fasting. And that's it. So there are types of intermittent fasting. These are not exhaustive here by any stretch. In fact, the type of fasting that I do, I didn't even put here because it freaks most people out, but I may tell you about it. The most common type is what's called 16-8 fasting. So your fasting window is 16 hours and your eating window is 8 hours. So what this means is for 16 hours, you're just going to have your black coffee or your water, and that's it. And then for 8 continuous hours, that's your eating window. That's where you're able to eat a sensible diet. So you don't go to the buffet and fill yourself up. You just eat sensibly. I think you're smart enough to know what that means. But then again, for 16 hours, you're drinking water and black coffee and probably tea. I would think unsweetened tea is going to be fine. Just a couple of tea bags and some hot water. Probably going to be just fine with that. So the health benefits, there's a tremendous amount of health benefits to this. You can go to the National Library of Medicine, the National Institute of Health. Those are both US-based websites from our government. And you can look at all of the peer-reviewed independent research on the better health that you can achieve through intermittent fasting. I'll let you do that on your own because this is a talk about how it saved my business, and it saved my business because it made my brain work better. I've been doing intermittent fasting for years. There is a really noticeable difference when you start doing it in how your brain functions. You can literally feel your brain working better. So there are lots of studies from the National Institute of Health that talk about how intermittent fasting improves your brain function, your focus, your cognitive abilities, your cognitive functionings, improves memory, all really, really amazing things. And I didn't start intermittent fasting for my business, but it turned out to be the biggest change I could have ever made in my business. I started it to lose a bunch of weight, which I did, almost 100 pounds. We'll talk about that in another video. So there's an importance to having focus in business. A lot of people right now tend to think about how no one has a short attention span. No one has a short attention span because you're consuming crap. You're eating terribly. You're eating too much sugar. You're eating too much carbohydrates. And when you eat sugar and carbohydrates, it causes swelling throughout your body and in your brain, and that deteriorates your ability to focus, and it deteriorates your cognitive functions. Again, National Institute of Health, you can find all the studies on that. This is not my opinion. This is science and research, and that's all I'm going to bring with you. I'm happy to share my opinion with you if you ever want to just ask, but I'd rather just focus on facts as opposed to opinion. So having focus in business is an essential element to getting your business to where you want it to be. And if you've tried everything to get your business to move forward, but you haven't tried cutting out the sugar and maybe trying some intermittent fasting, that would be a wise thing for you to do. And as I'm doing this, I remembered I didn't really even talk to you about the 5-2 method, which I have up here, which is where you eat normally for 5 days and you fast, you restrict your calories and you fast for 2 days. I don't do that one, which is why I completely forgot to mention it to you. The type of fasting I do is called 1 meal a day. I fast for 23 and a half hours, and then I eat for 30 minutes, and then I start fasting again. So I only eat for 30 minutes a day, aside from my water and my coffee. So my black coffee, by the way, that's really important. So that's what I do. And then 1 day a week, I fast for 36 hours. I'm going to save that for a totally different video because there's a lot of complexities there and it tends to freak people out when I tell them that I only eat for half an hour a day, 6 days a week. There's 1 day a week where I don't have a bite of food at all. We'll get to that in another video. But if you're going to get a lot of things done in your business, you got to be able to focus for long periods of time. So if fasting can reduce swelling in your brain, which we'll talk about in the next section, and fasting can increase your ability to focus, it certainly makes sense that it might be something to try. And that's what I did. And unintentionally, like I mentioned earlier, I could feel my brain functioning differently when I was fasting. Everything feels different. I just am able to work harder for longer periods of time with focus. My memory is through the roof. Lots of great benefits to that I will keep talking to you about. But you also have better quality of work and you're more productive when you are able to focus in your business. And by the way, if these are the kind of results that you're looking for, I'm going to annotate the screen somewhere here with collab.prouty.me. I'm opening up some spots in my collaborative mastermind. It's not a mastermind like you might think of. I think nowadays masterminds are pretty much people getting on stage and selling stuff to audiences. This is a collaborative mastermind where I handpick the right people to come together and we all work together to grow our businesses, to grow each other's businesses. And I lead the whole thing and I teach a little bit in there. And then every week we get together live and we share success strategies to help people move forward faster. It's got to be right for you. You've got to be somebody who is willing to do the work and who wants to focus for long periods of time. But if that's you, hop onto collab.prouty.me. And as I open up spots in that, if you'd like to be considered, just let me know. And I would love to consider you to be a part of that, especially if you're watching this here today. You might be very well aligned for what we do in there. Actually, a lot of the people in there are intermittent fasting along with me. And it's really cool to see how they improve. So let's get back to this. Intermittent fasting can improve your memory, your focus, and your cognitive functioning because it reduces neuroinflammation. Again, National Library of Medicine, you can find the studies on that. I might have it up right here on reducing neuroinflammation. There are a bunch of other studies on that as well. Impacts of added sugars on cognitive functions. I just brought these up to flip through these really quick, but you are certainly free to do that research on your own. So you have the ability to reduce neuroinflammation, which will then allow your brain to function better. It just improves overall brain function. And I'm not a neuroscientist, but I have studied this stuff for years as I've been doing intermittent fasting. So I know just enough to be able to share it with you, which it will also increase your memory. Again, studies are showing that you will enhance your memory and your learning abilities. I'm able to learn things incredibly rapidly. In fact, I talk to people in my mastermind about the things that I'm learning, and I always get asked, do you find that you're not a kid anymore? Do you find that it's hard to learn? It's not. It's actually, I can learn very rapidly now, and my memory is through the roof. So it's worth considering and looking at the research. If you've been thinking about this or you're currently doing it, I'd love to hear your feedback as well. You can share that with me you know where to do that. You know where to share your comments. Also, intermittent fasting improves your focus. It's just the studies are showing it. You get more mental clarity, your mood is better, you're more stabilized, and you're just able to focus for long periods of time, like 4 hours of focusing on one thing just to get it done and to see that to completion. So then we talk about your diet, and we should talk about your diet and your the functions of your neurons, because what you eat has a large impact on how the neurons in your brain function. And the neurons are responsible for your brain activity. And it's been shown that when you consume a lot of sugar, that your brain does not function as well. And what actually happens in the Western diet is that your brain slows down. And again, National Institute of Health did a study on this. So your brain slows down, you have impaired memory, impaired focus, impaired cognitive abilities. So it's really important that even during your eating window, that you're eating mindfully and you're avoiding the added sugars and all the stuff that you know you shouldn't be eating. Just don't eat that stuff. And all the stuff you know you should be eating, like healthy, lean proteins, or if you're on a plant-based diet, plants that are really green and rich in the protein and the nutrients, eat that kind of stuff. That's what I do. It sounds kind of boring, but what is really boring is having a business that fails because you can't focus. That gets real boring real fast. I'd rather have the excitement of my business thriving than to have a chocolate covered something or other. So here are some takeaways for you and some considerations for you as you're thinking about this. First, intermittent fasting has the potential to significantly impact your cognitive functionings, your brain functions. Let me try that again. It doesn't help with your pronunciation, I can tell you that. It helps with your cognitive functioning and your brain functions and your memory and your improved focus. And you can look at the studies on that, or why not just try it yourself and see what happens. I can tell you this, it's not going to happen right away. It will take a couple of days, and it takes some time to get used to intermittent fasting. I will make a whole nother video for you on how to start intermittent fasting. And if you're looking for an easy way to get started, just stop eating after dinner and don't eat until breakfast. So like a 12-hour fast from 6 p.m. to say 6 or 7 a.m. That's a great way to get started. Anybody can do the dinner and done methodology. Doing this consistently is what's going to impact you the most. This is not something that you can do for a couple of days and then ease off. This is an all-in, you're doing this or not kind of thing. So you got to be really consistent with it. There is a business benefit to that as well. And that business benefit is that in business, discipline for long periods of time is what's going to help you be more successful over time. It's that level of discipline. Fasting, intermittent fasting, teaches you how to be disciplined. Sometimes I'm hungry right now. I can feel my stomach rumbling. But as I record this, I'm not going to eat for 8 hours. So I've got to have the discipline to stay out of the kitchen, stay away from the snacks, don't even look at the food that might be out as my family is out there eating, so that I can stay disciplined until I get to my eating window, which is going to be this evening. I eat for a half an hour every evening. Except for Saturday evenings, I don't eat at all. And then there are a tremendous amount of long-term benefits to this. Your work performance will go through the roof. You've got my word on that. You'll feel better. It affects every area of your life. And in my mastermind, which is called Force Acceleration, we do focus on all areas of life, not just your business. Because you can't have a truly successful business if you're screwing up in other areas of your life. It just doesn't work that way. So we focus on the most important areas of life and how they relate to success in your business. Your physical fitness is very important to your business. And by the way, if you're the kind of person that resonates with this, even if you don't want to intermittent fast, I'm cool with that, but you'd like to check out what it's like to be in this collaborative mastermind with other people who are cheering you on, supporting you, and sharing their success with you so that you can stand on their shoulders and get your own success, hop over here to collab.prouty.me. That's where I think I'm going to put it on the screen at least. It's not floating in the air right now. But go to collab.prouty.me and check it out. Get on the waiting list if we don't have any spots open right now. But when we do, I would love to invite you to explore what it's like to work with a group of people who want to help you move forward faster. If you're someone who feels like you have a tremendous amount of untapped potential, this is for you. And maybe you've tried things in your business business to be successful in the past, and they just haven't worked out the way you thought. Maybe you were promised quick answers when actually the slow, steady pace is what you needed. This is for you. So hop over to collab.prouty.me and check it out. I'd love to see you apply to be in the mastermind, and you and I will talk and see if it's right for you. If it's not right for you, that's cool with me too. I just want the people in there who are going to help everyone succeed so that we can succeed as individuals and as a team. All right, so collab.prouty.me. So if you're going to try intermittent fasting, if you've never done it before, then your first step is going to be stop eating at dinner, start eating at breakfast. See if you can go 12 hours without eating. The nighttime is going to be a little bit tricky because most people snack, but that's okay. Try to go those 12 hours. In future videos on this topic, I will bring to you some strategies for getting into it, including how I got to only eating for a half an hour a day and fasting for the other 23 and a half hours. And then I'll take you to where I fast for 36 hours once a week, every single week. I'll take you all through all of that coming up. But for right now, you're just getting started. Stop eating at dinner time, start eating at breakfast. See how you feel after maybe a week. It's probably going to take a week before you really start to see the benefits, but you'll see them. You got my word on that. Let me know what you think about this down in the comments, and I will see you in the next one.